hello. It's time for another episode with Gaia.meditationsandstones Sylvie. And I'm gonna wait a bit for people to hop on. It's always a bit funny to start off this conversation when people are not arrived in the space, but it's gonna be a lovely space where we're gonna talk about consciously journeying with plant medicine, and I'm curious who is gonna hop on in the space. It's gonna be cozy for the people that joining. Grab your tea. I have some blue lotus tea so that I can relax, and we're gonna make something fun of our time together. And let's see how we can ask Sylvie to join the space. Oh, okay. You're a bright white light.
Yay!
Hey, babe.
Hello.
How are you today?
Hey, thank you for the invite.
You hear me properly?
Yes. And my connection, is it okay?
A little bit. It's delaying, but I hope you can hear me. Maybe it has to settle a bit, you know?
Yeah, I hear you. I think let's
Sometimes
hope.
sometimes it takes some time for the connection to be settled, but I think it's gonna be okay. Hopefully. Now you're unloading. We have to start again. Um, okay, let's start again, guys. I don't know what's happening with the connection. Oh, yeah. She left the building. No, she's still there, but for some reason the connection is not really settling, so we can try it again. What do you think? Let's try it again.
Hello.
Hello.
I came back in.
Oh, okay, but now it's better.
Yeah? Oh, great. Okay, I changed some stuff around the Wi-Fi, so now I hope the connection is good.
Yeah, good. Well, for the people that are now joining, this is another Soul Sanctuary talk with this time Sylvie, and we're gonna discuss about the journey with consciously journeying with with plant medicine. And you are the right person for that because I really feel like you are the queen of mushrooms, and
Thank you.
you're like the fairy that, yeah, you facilitate ceremonies with this plant medicine in Ibiza and the Netherlands.
Yes.
So you're quite known with this plant medicine, and it's an interesting topic nowadays because it's really a big thing now, and everybody wants to experience it. So that's why we're here to, kind of like talk about this journey together. And I'm just really curious, like, yeah, I mean, you have Gaia Meditations. You started with your own business. So
Mm-hmm.
how did this came about? Like, how did you started your business, Gaia
Mm,
Meditations?
yeah, it was about 2 years ago, I think now, and I just always have been into spirituality. It's been like with me since I was a little. Um, and I really felt like I wasn't really matching with the current jobs that I did, and I felt I wanted to do something and to give back to people. And then I felt like, yeah, let's just try. Let's just see what I can do to help others. I was already doing this in my own circles with my friends and friends of friends, and always felt in kind of a role of being the listener, being the helper, and guiding people, having deep talks. And then when my own journey, because my own journey was much about really stepping into my power, stepping into my confidence, and also dealing with high sensitivity. I really felt inspired to help others, because I feel like so many people are having strong intuition, and they are stuck because this is really not what we teach in schools, how to cope with our sensitivities, how to, when you're so aware of your surroundings and about energies of other people, how do you cope with this instead of being all the time, overworked, feeling tired and feeling drained. So I started with giving meditation sessions, and because this really helped me on my journey to the self and to accepting myself and my sensitivity. So I started with this, and slowly I built with more tools that helps people to connect with themselves, connect with their hearts, and to really learn about what is inside of us. And I feel like we have all the answers inside of us, and to practice meditation or conscious breathing or working with truffles, it really helps us to go deeper inside of us and feel connected and feel a certain purpose and a certain depth in our being. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
really happy that I can call this my job, because it doesn't feel like
Yeah,
working at all. It
it's a
feels such a
blessing.
blessing. Yeah.
And also the journey that it took, because it's like first it started as an inner journey, and then you realize, okay, I can actually give back and I can stand in my power, because that's also kind of like what needs to happen for yourself,
Yeah,
that you need to stand there and that you're able to do this kind of work. So
exactly.
really
Yeah.
beautiful. And how
Yeah.
did this journey with truffles and mushroom came about? Like, because for my experience, I feel like the plant medicine really calls you, and it just,
Yeah.
you have to listen to it, and then it starts to kind of appear in your field. So
Mm.
how did this work for you? How did this went?
Yeah, it's definitely true that the plants are calling you. It's with cacao, it's with ayahuasca, it's with mushrooms. When you notice certain curiosity, or mostly curiosity, it starts with about these things, and you start getting information about it. I think it's the way of calling that because they are plants, and it's created in on earth where we are living from, and it's like a natural thing growing, and we are natural beings. We are not different from the nature that is outside of us, and the plants, they have a way of calling us back, like to our real existence. I feel like our natural way of being. And for me, it started firstly, to be honest, with the curiosity. Also, it was mostly for recreational use. So just having fun with friends, experimenting with the truffles, because I felt, yeah, let's try this. And I never experienced that it would be a substance to make your consciousness bigger and to go into deep healing, and to I would have never expected it, something that you can buy in a smart shop, to be such a healing to have such a healing potency. So first started just for fun, but while I was doing it for fun, I already noticed, like, whoa, what is this? It brings up certain patterns that you might have. It can bring up all kind of thoughts, and mostly not the thoughts that we experience in daily life, but mostly it activates a part of the brain. This I didn't know immediately, but I researched it after. It activates a part of the brain that helps to analyze our thoughts more. So we don't become our thoughts, but we are more in the back seat of our mind, of our brains, and we can analyze the thoughts that are coming up. And I experienced this in my recreational way of using it, and I saw also, when you use truffles or mushroom in a full dose, it also activates your third eye, so you can hallucinate. You can see things around you that are, with normal eyes, you can see them. And this reminded me of my own abilities when I was a child. I was seeing spirit, and I would see energies around people, and everybody would always think, like, in what fantasy world are you living? And I saw this now can give people that don't have the ability to see from their third eye the ability to see in this way. And I felt as if I was coming home, like finally I could be understood by people, that there's something more around us. And yeah, I was really amazed actually by their yeah, what they bring in our consciousness, what they bring, because what is conscious for us is what we can see with the eyes or what we can know, and what is unconscious is what we don't see, it's what is deep in us, you know. And this medicine brings what is in the subconsciousness or in the unconsciousness, brings it to the conscious world. So it's like opening up you fully. And I see here somebody's posting, I felt the same way. So that's really nice to hear. Thank you for sharing. And so, yeah, it was like really amazing that I saw it and I thought, okay, I can use this in my healing practices because I saw the healing potency from the medicine. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Your own
Yeah.
journey. And also, there's a whole renaissance going on with the science behind it, because science is now finding out that they can actually cure depression
Yeah.
uh, with plant medicine. Like their new
Mm-hmm.
pathways are being created or healed, and people
Mm-hmm.
can really heal their depression, or even
Yeah.
like cells that are the cancerous,
Exactly.
you know.
Yeah.
So it's really it's such an interesting thing that's happening now when spirituality is meeting science. It's such a
Exactly.
wow,
Yeah. I
because
love that.
then it's not
Yeah.
so crazy anymore, you know, because the people
Yeah.
are really into science are like, wow, this actually really this could be something. So
Exactly. I think this
interesting.
is really what needs to happen also in the world because, you know, with my business, I focus a lot on spirituality because meditation is seen as something spiritual and something floaty and something that only Buddhists do, for example. There's like still a huge stigma on spiritual
Yeah.
stuff. But now, when plant medicine are going into clinical trials, so they are tested with psychologists, with psychiatric institutions to see if it has the potential to cure depression and anxieties, mental disorders, abuse of substances, so like addictions. And it has so many successful stories. And slowly there are more and more. There's more and more news about it. Even I saw in the Dutch newspapers and in America also that it's more known now and more common that it's not a drug, you know, because it's still on the list of being a drug, a Schedule 1 drug, but it has so much potential to heal because it really works on, and that's what I really love about it, that it's also scientifically proven that mushrooms and truffles, they work on the brain, on the prefrontal cortex, so in the front. And this really helps what I just said before about analyzing our thoughts by being the observer. This prefrontal cortex also influences our mood and our perception of things. And when you talk about perception of things, of course, it's like we all know this. I don't know if we all know, actually, that's an assumption, but I think we all have seen it. Sometimes you see two people in the bus, for example, and one person looks outside and sees that it's raining, and the
Yeah.
other person looks the other way, and there it's, for example, the sunshine. And it's all about perception, the way you look at things and where you look at, that's how you perceive life. And the mushrooms really help to open up this view and open up the consciousness. So with depression, for example, it brings new neural pathways in the brain so that you can think more deeper and more in solutions. And yeah, I love it. Yeah,
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 cool. And
yeah.
what's also coming up now is that you know, there are different ways of journeying. So you have, you know, you can journey for 7 hours straight. That's with mushrooms probably, right?
Truffles also.
With truffles. And
Yeah.
then you can also do microdosing. And I think
Mhm.
like could you explain more a bit how microdosing works?
Yes, of course. Yeah, you have the microdosing variety. You can do microdosing with mushrooms or with truffles. And many people don't know, I think, the difference between
Yeah,
mushrooms
that's
and
what I wanted to ask you.
yeah, the difference between mushrooms and truffles, because they are both known. Wait, I will explain actually. So you have the mushrooms and the truffles that you can use for psychedelic experiences, and in microdosing way or in the full dose way. And the mushroom part is the part that grows on top of the earth. So the long stick with the small head, the one we all know from like, yeah, from nature that you see above the ground that pop up in autumn time. Yeah. So this is the mushroom part, and then in the ground, literally in the earth, the truffles grow, and the truffles is the sclerotia, the small mycelium that grows underground, and from this the mushroom grows above the ground. So they're both from the same organism, from the same species, and they are both used in psychedelic experiences and in therapy ways. But there's no actual difference in the effects. Some think that mushrooms are, for example, stronger, they give stronger hallucinations and visuals. But my experience is that it doesn't really make a difference. They're both equally potent. The only difference is the look and the way of growing and where they are growing, so above the earth and below the earth, in the earth. And they're both the working substance in these things in the two ways is psilocybin. So both have the same working substance that creates the whole the experience, let's say, and the deep dive in your consciousness. So there's not a difference in what they are doing, only the way they look and how they are growing. So and what was your question before that? I'm sorry.
About you have microdosing. That's also a thing right now, because the full experience, if you want to like kind of dip your toe in, maybe you're not really like, is it something for me? Then maybe microdosing could be a good option to try. But what's the difference with microdosing and
full dose? Yeah, indeed, because many people are still having some fears or doubts about doing this big journey, because it's quite intense also. And to get to know the truffles and the magic mushrooms, it's good to start with microdosing. Microdosing, you take a small dose. You take around 1 grams of truffles, and with this dose, you take it without wanting to open yourself up to the effects of hallucinating, for example. So you don't hallucinate. That's not the thing you want with microdosing. But you use the medicine in a subtle way and for a longer period mostly. So it creates, so the psilocybin, the effect goes to the brain, and it creates the new neural pathways in the brain, so you can think more clearly, have a better mood, be more in contact with your observing part of your brain. And it has many advantages that you can read more about online, or I can tell you later. So for a longer period, it is very subtle, and it gives you more knowledge about deeper work that you're doing. For example, I guide microdosing months, where I guide a group of people in microdosing with truffles. And in this month, you set your intention. So you ask yourself, what do I hope to gain from this experience? What do I want to transform in this month? What do I want to look at or feel into? And then with extra tools like breath work, like meditation, like journaling in a notebook every day, and reflecting on how you're feeling and what has come up in insights. It helps you to be more present, and it helps you to be more observing and more about self-exploration. So exploring parts of yourself that are mostly in the subconscious or unconscious behaviors or thoughts or programs or trauma. And with these subtle messages from the medicine, you can really shift your consciousness. So you bring what is unconscious to the consciousness, and learn from that. So that's really a potent way of already gaining a small relationship with the truffles, and learning how they work, how they function in the body, how do I feel, what does it do for me. And but it's very subtle, so it's not like, it doesn't break you open like we know from, for example, ayahuasca or with a full dose of truffles, but it's really subtle. So it needs from you an attitude of curiosity, and it needs
that's a good one.
and it needs a lot of time to integrate and to really be in time to really listen to the medicine. So it needs you to relax, to go inwards, and to hear the messages. Because when you take the mushrooms in a microdose and you just go on with life, you just work and you do everything as you already did, then it might be that your mood is increasing and you feel more floaty, more happy, because that it brings also serotonin in the brain, which is hormone that gives you more, increases your mood, and it decreases your anxiety. So it helps you, of course. But for the real transformation and the real work, it needs you to have to have some time to really listen what's inside of you. So this is
Beautiful.
microdosing in a shortly explained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for the people that are interested in going on, I mean, trip sounds so like trippy, but on a trip, like it changes your life. Like I know from my experience that whenever I was ready to do it, I knew that I was setting the intention and I was like, it's gonna change my life. So
Yeah.
whenever you feel ready, I feel like listen to the call, but it takes some courageous steps.
Yeah.
But with everything now that it's popping up everywhere, you see it everywhere. Like, where can people look? Like, what do you advise to someone that feels new to this and really wants to do this? Like, what are the
Mm-hmm.
things that they can like feel into?
Yeah, good question. Good question. Thank you. Well, most important is when you feel the call yourself. So when you get it starts with, like I said, with the spark of curiosity. What is this? And it keeps coming up on your path. Maybe you see it in advertisements. Maybe you read books. Maybe you hear about it from friends. This is already like the medicine calling you. Like, hey, we're here. Whenever you're ready, come and see, come and experience. I think life is all about experiencing. So when you feel this that you want to go into this experience, you can ask yourself, do I want a full dose? And the full dose is mostly to really take a deep dive inside of your consciousness, inside of your body, but also open up to all possibilities, because it really opens up a big field around you of energy, and when you want to do this in a deep way, it's really good to ask yourself, what is the intention? What do I want to gain again? What do I want to learn, or what do I want to achieve? And what would happen if I don't get the answers to this, but something totally different comes up? Because it's also really important that with doing a full dose of truffles or mushrooms, you can't really predict what they're going to show you. So you need to also be okay to surrender, to really let go of expectations and really listen to what they want to teach you. Because I feel like this plant is really like a teacher plant. It
Mm,
really it really teaches you what is in your subconsciousness, so what is in the hidden parts of yourself, and what wants to come to the light, so you can work with it. So sometimes people think, oh, I want to have this big spiritual awakening journey trip, let's say, and I want to make contact with the spirit world, and I want to, travel to dimensions. But then in reality, in the sessions that I facilitate with them, a lot of, for example, unhealed trauma of their childhood comes up, or other things come up, like really earthy business, let's say. So some things that really are unsolved and need to get attention. So it's very important that you go in with open heart and open mind, and soothing. So what matches your intention, find the right guidance with this, because there are
yeah,
different ways of going into ceremony. There are people
so
that take it
different.
into a very spiritual approach, and some people take it into a very, for example, inward approach, that you really go to take the journey inside. And some facilitators do it like in a group setting, and they play music and you dance and you have fun, so it's more of a outward experience. So yeah, whatever suits your intention, find the right guidance for this, and also be aware that it's very important that you have space holders with you, especially when you do it for the the first two,
First
three
of all,
times, I
yeah,
think it's good to have like a facilitator there that can hold the space. And when fear comes up or when trauma comes up, that they know how to help you and guide you through this. Because the full dose, the full journey can take up to 6 to 8 hours. So yeah, it's like if you're 6 or 8 hours in deep trauma that comes up or in anxiety that comes up, it is good that someone watches over you and knows how to help you get through this.
yeah,
Yeah. And also, what is very, very important, I think, with the full dose, what we experience can be very visual. So we can see all kinds of things coming up and very like a lot of information. We open up our brain that literally and our crown chakra to information from all around us. And when you get access to all this information that is everywhere around us, our brain needs to process a lot, and can see all kind of images and visuals, and we don't really know, we can't really understand what does it all mean, where is this coming from, and it can be very hard to translate what is the message in this.
yeah,
So
to discern, like what is this message about? And
exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
super interesting. Because we actually sat in ceremony today together,
Yeah.
um, with Hachuma, which was
Yeah.
very inwards and then the outwards energy.
Mm-hmm.
And with the medicine, I feel it's really interesting to feel that even though you are in ceremony and you're going through this transformation, that the real transformation happens when you are outside of the ceremony with
Yeah.
everything. And
Exactly.
the integration part is really interesting, like important as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that I met a guy in Bali, and he told me like he was in ceremony for 35 times.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing, maybe it would sound a bit judgmental, but I was like, but what did he actually learn from that, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I've been in these spaces, and I can also feel how tempting it is to kind of like, how do you say,
Yeah, go there and get the high,
go
let's say.
there and hide and escape. So
Yeah.
I can also sense the shadow side of
Yeah.
plant medicine being some kind of escapism. So can
Definitely.
you maybe explain a bit? You know, I feel like you know what I mean, but
You explained well, because I think in general our we seek and we are raised, we are kind of in a society that has like quick fixes to everything.
yeah,
Everything is
yeah,
quick.
right.
We need the answer to something, we go online and we find it. Everything needs to be quick fix,
Yeah,
or
everything
uh,
Google.
yeah, or giving like a rush. And also like this with plant medicine, it can be really kind of a seeking, people that seek this high of life experience and this open portal to other dimensions or to knowledge or to information. But I think it's very important to treat it with respect. And my experience is also that integration is one of the most important things, like you said, because we in ceremony, this is where the magic happens. This is
Yeah,
where you are open to all these possibilities and to your own potential, and you find answers to your healing. But if you go back in your daily life, this is where the challenges are back, because there you are in reality again, and there is
yeah,
where your triggers will be again, and there's where your family will be judging you or whatever. There's and you need to go to work and do groceries and all that stuff. So it's really important that we take the lessons from our journeys and integrate them in life. So for me, also the advice I would give to
yeah,
anybody that is looking for an experience like this is, when you want to do it, when you want to do a full dose, find a good coach that matches your intention. So what is your intention? And find someone who has experience with this. And also always see that there's an intake, because it's really important to know what are we working on, what is your intention, what do you feel, what are you struggling with. And then the journey itself, of course, the experience is there. And then after, you should always have an integration moment. So I think that's very important. So in the daily life, you can take the lessons from ceremony and integrate them. So there's really a long and
yeah,
enduring change in your life, because otherwise you can keep going, going, going. but you go back to normal life and you're in the same shit again. So it's
Yeah,
important to integrate. Yeah.
exactly. And have a soft landing and take the lessons in your day-to-day life.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, interesting. Are there
Yeah.
people here right now that feel like I want to ask Sylvie a question? Or I don't know, maybe share an experience? Just gonna go
Yeah.
away from some people.
To see if there are any questions. Not really, I think.
Sometimes it takes time, right, for people to have.
Mm.
But anyway, this, yeah. What I also was reminded about with when we were in ceremony, one of the facilitators said something really interesting about the taste.
Mm-hmm.
That the taste sometimes of plant medicine is so, I mean, I don't know what she said. She says like,
It's not really nice
it's not
to
like
say
honey.
it friendly.
Yeah, it's not like honey because she said, I mean, that was her insight that there's a reason why it's not like honey
Yeah.
because otherwise it would be like overconsumption.
Consume. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
and we
Yeah.
will be all over the globe like
Yeah.
yeah,
Exploiting the next nice thing to try.
exactly.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think it's very what the plants themselves, they really have their own consciousness, just like we have. And I think it's very interesting that the plants like cacao, for example, like truffles or mushrooms, ayahuasca, San Pedro, hachuma, they all have like a not a sweet, lovely taste because they
mm,
really are made this way. They protect themselves and it's their defense mechanism, so people don't overconsume them. Yeah, thought it was a beautiful insight too. Yeah, I
yeah,
remember it. And
lovely.
I totally agree because I think we shouldn't overconsume and I think we should be really cautious about the things we use and mostly because in general the history of humans is over-consuming and exploiting
Yeah,
nature and I think we need to have respect of the place where we take the medicine from and for example the customs to it and we really need to build like a relationship with them and that's what I think is very important also in finding a good facilitator that what have you experienced yourself and yeah how is your relationship to the plants and
yeah,
do you use it with respect. Yeah.
agree. I
Yeah.
see Becca has a beautiful question. Thank you,
Okay.
Becca. She says,
Hey,
could you
Becca.
explain more about the different integration methods?
Yes, of course. Good question indeed. Yeah. I always suggest my clients to journal a lot, to keep a journal with microdosing, but also with the full after the full journey and before, because it helps to write off the thoughts and the insights, and you can later always look at it and find like insights and find a connection in between. Also, what is a good part is for me, and that's also my holy grail because I use it in all my coaching, is meditating. Because I think when we meditate, we are in a relaxed state of mind and we are tapping into our potential and our creative brain, and we step out of our limiting beliefs. So I think it's very good to really internalize the insights. And for example, most of the journeys, whatever anxiety, whatever pain or fear comes up in because of the truffles and because of the mushrooms, you can handle it because of the loving awareness that they give you. And in this moment, however, whatever heat, whatever pain comes up, you are able to carry it. And it's very important that with this positive way of looking at the pain and trauma that has been in your system, that we take this in our daily life too. So it helps really much with positive affirmations that we can take from what we learned and we can repeat them in our daily lives. So it becomes a new way of telling ourselves a new story from the lessons we have learned. Um, yeah, and I think in general being conscious what you need because yeah, I think the most important thing is that we take the time also to rest and to give our body the rest it needs to integrate everything. So rest is very important and less distraction. So less mobile phones, less distractions to really be in silence and to
I don't
integrate.
even think like you wanna when I remember I came out of ceremony, I didn't even want to touch my phone. Like
No.
everything technology, I was like, that's like dark.
Yeah.
I don't want to touch it.
Yeah, I can relate.
Really.
Yeah.
And
It brings it.
Robert has a question. What was your
Over to
most
you.
profound experience during a ceremony?
The most profound experience from as a facilitator, seeing from my clients, and I'll share this anonymously, of course, is let me think how to share this mostly because it was so big.
Yeah.
When my client, it was on a full journey, full doses, and my client felt that he was inside of himself, and he felt that he had to leave his body, so his spirit, the consciousness that is inside of you, that is watching your thoughts, that is listening when you are closed, with your eyes closed. So the consciousness, your higher self, your spirit, your soul, there are many ways for it, had to leave his body to go and open, to how do I say this? To go over the ego and to really connect with the wisdom of the soul. So it was really interesting because it was, normally we say stay in touch with your body, stay grounded, and it's very important to stay grounded in spiritual
Yeah.
practices. But with my permission, because I was overviewing the whole thing and I felt it was safe, I gave him permission to go outside of his body, kind of, and I saw his light going out, and he went to really deep, beyond the ego knowledge. So there was like huge downloads of knowledge coming through about life, about his consciousness, and about what he wanted to do in life. And then when we took the time to integrate this back in, so taking the soul, taking the consciousness back into the body, he has made huge steps after in life, and changing and opening up to his new potential, kind of. It was like he downloaded new ways of being and new ways of looking at things, and from there on a beautiful journey started. So yeah, that was beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also people meeting their spirit guides, seeing one girl, she knew she had to work with a lot of trauma about her father. It was like a difficult relationship between her and her father. And the first thing that came up when the medicine started working was, and it sounds really weird now, but we were sitting, and from the floor, her father rose up out of the floor, like he was really there, coming up, like, "Hey, girl, hey, daughter, I need to work with you, right?" So she couldn't really avoid anymore that this was the work that
Yeah,
had to be
yeah,
done, and it's our
yeah,
subconscious mind, but also I believe it opens up our consciousness to really see what is needed in this time to heal
yeah.
ourselves.
And to see
So
like the thread of life, to see that everything is connected.
yeah,
And it really gives you what you need. Like you
yeah,
don't have a thing with it. I mean, you can have intentions. That's
yeah,
good to have to kind
yeah,
of guide the experience in a way, but it's really up to the consciousness of the plant to offer you the guidance.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
I
Mm.
love that.
Yeah,
And what you said, the curiosity is just key to, if you feel the calling, like to explore it, because sometimes it takes years. I remember with ayahuasca that it became 2 years prior. I had these hints coming to me in really
hmm,
like in a sound healing session, for example, and then later on it came, but I never went looking for it. Like I never went like, I don't know, it just came,
yeah,
and
yeah,
really gently, like no grasping or,
yeah,
and I just knew it was time. So the
yeah.
calm is,
Yeah, on
yeah,
the right time, when you are ready, you will feel the
yeah,
call, because it is a profound experience, and it is what you said, it's a life-changing experience, especially the deep journeys, because they are so impactful, and it opens up ways in our way of thinking, and in the way we feel and see, literally, that it's so big that this is not to be compared to any other thing in life. So this is why it's life changing and can give so many insights if it's done the correct way and with the right guidance and with respect. And the funny thing is that I've experienced it also in a recreational setting, but it's totally different than when you do it with intention and in a spiritual or conscious way. It's totally different because you open up a whole field of energy and of yes, spirit literally to come in and help you and assist you. So many people, they feel also that work is been done on their bodies by beings that they can't see normally or feel normally, but they feel the work that has been done, the healing, at least in my ceremony, because I work with spirit and I work with healing. So it's yeah, really profound. Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you
Thank
for the
you.
questions, guys. Love it.
Yeah, maybe something someone else has one question. Maybe I'm gonna wave to some people, but this is it's a good conversation. And what I like personally feel now is that it's funny because I'm talking with you about this subject, but it also what I really feel is that whenever you experience the plant medicine, that the
Mhm.
medicine continues to work on you. Like I don't
Yeah,
feel like it stops. Like it really works on you because people choose to have that experience, and that's gonna
yeah,
still have this kind of like direction. It's really
definitely. Yeah, I always say there's a person before plant medicine and a person after plant medicine. It's a total different consciousness and way of understanding life. And that, for example, the life even in plants, you know, that you can take a substance from nature, a plant that is growing, and you can see how it's breathing, how it's living, how it's communicating. But also inside of yourself, you feel the connection with nature so deeply, and you feel the connection with our Mother Earth, and with you feel a sense of unity. And this is what is totally different. Once you've experienced this, you can't undo it, you can't erase it. It's like when you see pictures when you see pictures and they ask you what color do you see, and some people will say blue, some people will say red, because and then when some people say red and you see blue, you can't see the red, and it's like, huh, why do you see red? But when they hear that there's also red and they point at it, like there it is, and then they're like, oh yeah, it's red, and then you can't unsee the blue and red because you know now, and your consciousness has been opened. And that's also with psychedelics, I think, especially with the mushrooms for me, that it's yeah, life before and after, because it's total. It opens up your whole perception and view of everything. Yeah,
nice.
beautiful addition.
This is maybe a funny question, but if you could draw like a truffle and you see, like like a grandfather kind of energy, right? What kind of energy do you like see it if you
um, in colors, you mean, like how I would draw the energy of a truffle?
yeah, I don't know. It's a
Yeah,
really funny question. I don't know, but I
yeah, love
saw
it.
grandpa. I don't know. I saw this
I
grandpa.
I would use like codes, you know, like light language codes, because it opens up this
Mm,
codes inside of
yeah.
us, in our DNA and in our
Oh,
mind, to unlock new information and data. And it has a lot to do with, I think, all the colors of the rainbow. Because always when I see when people are in the full experience, they see also many people that normally don't see this. They see, for example, the aura around me when I'm facilitating. They see the aura, so it brings up with normal eyes. When we look through our normal eyes, we can have a perception again, like a limit of colors that we can sense. But with this, because we open up our third eye, we can see way more colors, and we see also more light. So I would say that I would use codes
cool.
to draw them, and in many colors. So yeah.
Cool. I can see. Funny. And then
Mhm.
I see another question. Soul journey of Re.
Mhm.
What are
Yeah.
the differences between plant medicines? Because there are a lot. Maybe some
Yeah.
we don't even know yet, you know.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know all of them. I don't have experience with all of them also, but yeah, there are differences in the way that they are communicating with you. For example, some are really visual with communicating. For example, ayahuasca. is very known to be very visual for many people. And the way also how they communicate in the intensity, I think, because we have ayahuasca and it's kind of a similar endurance than truffles and mushrooms. It's around 6-8 hours mostly the journey. And then you have the San Pedro Hachuma, it's a cactus from Peru, and this takes around 13 to 16 hours. So it's like the length of the journey that you're in, the trip that you're in, is different, but also the way they communicate. So do they make it visual, or is it more inwards that you have to close your eyes to really see the messages? Like with ayahuasca and with truffles, I think it works really good to go inwards. But with San Pedro and Hachuma, the cactus, it works better to do it with open eyes and to see. So it's indifferent in the way they communicate, the length of the trip, and the intensity. Ayahuasca really takes you, it dumps you in all kind of stuff and in all kind of stories and in all kind of patterns and traumas that you need to address. And you don't really have control over it, I think, with ayahuasca. I don't know if this is also your experience, Jess, but I don't think you have much control of what you're going to be
No,
shown.
I felt like when I was like, just show me, because
Yeah,
I'm just right now I'm just surrendering and she knows more than me. I was like,
yeah.
I'm humbled now.
Yeah. So it really takes control, and with
Yeah.
truffles and mushroom, it's more subtle, but still it has the same visuals as ayahuasca. But you still have the control over your body, for example, and what you're doing. So it's less intense in that
Yeah.
way. So yeah, I always say that it's a good start to do if you're interested in ayahuasca or San Pedro. It's good to start with mushrooms because they're told also to be the children of the plant medicines, because they give this bubbly, joyful, in a subtle way messages without the ego involved. And that's the way they work. And then you can go on to the ayahuasca, San Pedro, and all other substances.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would say also, if you're interested, also it would be really nice to experience it yourself, because there's no one size fits all with plant medicine. Every experience is totally different. And your
Yeah.
first 1, 2, 3 mushroom or truffle journeys can be in this way, but your fourth can be totally different again. So it's like, yeah, I'm always amazed. Many clients, they come for a third or second journey, because it's like you go into a deeper way, or a more spiritual way, after you fixed, for example, some trauma or emotional blockages, and you go
Mhm.
for the third round, you go into the big bliss, ecstatic, spiritual journey, and it's totally different each time. So you can't really, it's not planned. You can't really plan what comes up. Yeah,
Yeah, cool.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember my first experience with truffles, and it's interesting when you do it by yourself, because I mean there was no guide like manual that I looked into. It was kind of
Mm-hmm.
like, let's just try.
Cool.
But it was really I didn't know it was so healing, because I started meditating, I remember, and I started closing down my eyes. I
Mm-hmm.
started seeing like shadow figures, and I moved them away. And then I started walking on the golden path. I'm gonna take you guys with me on the journey. But I saw this golden path, and on the end there was a being. And funny enough, I have her with me here. I saw,
Oh, wow.
and I never
Wow.
really had, a connection with Kuan Yin.
Yeah, she looks like Kuan Yin. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
got it.
I saw this golden being. But it's just really interesting how, you don't even know what's gonna happen, and then you're in that experience. But
Mm-hmm.
what I do want to say, when people want to experience something this by themselves, the
Mm-hmm.
space is really important. Like, to set up your own space and to
Yeah,
have a beautiful playlist, for example, with music. Because I
definitely.
remember also in that journey that we had the wrong music, and we felt like we were in a loop. And then
Yeah,
I was like, what is this rabbit hole? Like, we need to get out of here. But so it's really important to kind of create your setting when you start,
definitely.
when you want to do this by yourself, or,
Yeah,
keep the space like safe for that, for
yeah.
yourself, if you're ready.
very important. Setting is very important, and also the company that you're doing it with, because it really you have to feel safe, because you
Yeah.
can really get a lot of anxiety or like mind loops, mind fucks, and traps that when you are not with the right people. So it's very
Yeah.
important setting indeed. So the setting is also the place where you're doing it, but also that there are no people, for example, coming up in your area. And then the company and the safety, of course, that there's no alcohol. It's not mixed with alcohol, and it's not mixed with other drugs. So yeah, those three things are very important: setting, company, and safety. Yeah. And if
Yeah.
anybody wants some tips or want to talk more about it, you can always ask me. I'm always open for sliding in my DM and asking some
Yeah.
questions. So always
The
welcome.
Mushroom Queen. No, just kidding.
Love it. Thank you,
Yeah,
though.
and you are going to Ibiza soon, right?
Yeah, next week, Tuesday, I'm flying
Yeah,
again.
and then sometimes you come to the Netherlands to do ceremonies and
Yeah, for anybody who's interested in
yeah,
doing a deep dive or doing a guided microdosing month for working intentionally on some behavioral patterns or something you want to break through, you can always ask for a free exploration call that we talk and we see if your intention matches the way I work, and you can learn about me, because I think it's very important that we feel a connection too, and you feel safe with me. So you can always send me and we can have a call, which is free, and see whatever comes up from this. I give the ceremonies only in private, so one-on-one, because I can really dive deep with you. But from December or January and on, I will also co-create with some other facilitator for group ceremonies. So I will keep you posted about this. And
yay,
yeah, if you want, then you can always reach out for Holland. So I work in the Netherlands or in Ibiza. Yeah.
yay. Thank you, Sylvie, for your time.
Thank you for your
Yeah, that was
invitation.
beautiful, beautiful talk. That was so round. It feels
Yeah,
complete, you know.
yeah. Same for me. Thank you so much for inviting me and
Yeah,
give me
thank
the
you.
space to talk about this. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, see you soon, and
Yeah,
thank you
thank you
everyone who
all.
was here.
Thank you for for the
Um,
love and the questions.
Yeah, I'm gonna upload the whole video on YouTube channel, so then you can watch the whole replay your own time for whoever's watching or tuning in halfway or whatever. But
Yeah.
thank you everyone for being here, and yeah, let's go on to the next one.
Enjoy your evening. Bye
Yeah,
bye,
you too.
guys.
Bye bye.